When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools.
When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. Senator John Kennedy doesn't pull any punches in this viral showdown, taking aim at Ilhan Omar, AOC, and the Squad in a way only he can. From explosive debates on the House floor to shocking allegations that the mainstream media won't cover, we're breaking down the moments that have Washington in a tailspin. Is the Squad destroying the Democratic Party from within, or is this a calculated political purge? Buckle up. This isn't just politics. It's a battle for the soul of the nation.
I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment. There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. So let me say it one more time. I thought in the president's original tweet, I thought it was a poor choice of words. I think I know what the president meant, and he clarified later and said, look, if you're not happy in America, leave. Just leave. And I agree with that. But his original articulation of that concept, in my opinion, fell short of the mark. Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the Squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I meant. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
If I am not on this committee for one term, My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that, under the totality of the circumstances, disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes, and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe, when it comes to foreign affairs, especially the responsibility of that position around the world with the comments that you make, she shouldn't serve there.
And let me say a word about Mr. Mamdani. He's a socialist. We know that because his purse fell open and a copy of Socialism for Dummies fell out. Let me explain socialism to you. I read this somewhere. Pay your kid $20 to clean out the garage, and when he's finished, take $15 from him and give it to your other kid who didn't help. That's socialism. It's soul crushing. Socialism is for morons. It's untethered to reality. There's no historical case for it. It's just an equal sharing of misery. And for all those howdy-doodies that say, well, socialism is better than it's better than free enterprise, ask yourself this question: when the Berlin Wall fell, who ran to which side? And I think that answers the case for socialism versus free enterprise. I hope people will buy the book. It's going to come out in October. It's not a policy book per se. It's a story book. Many of the stories are humorous. Some of them bizarre. They're all true. I use stories to try to help the people understand what the U.S. Senate's really like, to explain to them why in Washington normal is just a setting on the dryer, and to make the case about why it doesn't have to be that way if we just have a return to common sense. I tell stories about President Trump, about my time, the hour I spent with Joe Biden, about Lindsey Graham, about John McCain. I think it'll make you laugh. And I think it'll make you laugh, and it may want to make you want a day drink.
I may have to. I don't know. Back to the people that you're mentioning and the people that you talk about. Maybe Lindsey Graham will be the more interesting story. I have no idea. But you look at the leadership now of the Democratic Party. You've got AOC flying around in a private jet with Grandpa Bernie to fight the oligarchy. They're, spending $3,500 on hotels and fancy places, and dining out and living like kings and queens. And okay, that's fine, but I thought they were fighting the oligarchy. Then you got Mamdani, then you got the Squad, then you got AOC and the Squad, then you got Jasmine Crockett, your friend Pocahontas. Those are the leading voices now of the Democratic Party. Chuck Schumer doesn't say anything. He's scared to death of them all.
Well, look, I don't hate anyone, Sean, but Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is a creation of the media. She checks all the boxes. She's young. She's liberal. She's attractive. She's ethnic. Her problem is that she's shallow as a puddle. You scratch the surface and you just get more surface. For her recent conduct, which you talked about, she gets and deserves a certificate of hypocrisy. And I would remind her that it's not your beliefs that make you a good person. It's your behavior. Watch what politicians do, not what they say.
Some of America's you're the most quotable senator. Always be yourself unless you suck. I say this gently. This is why the aliens won't talk to us. If you trust government, you obviously failed history class. I believe that our country was founded by geniuses, but is being run by idiots. Always follow your heart, but take your brain with you. And I can keep going. I've asked you this once before. Do you actually prepare these lines, or do they come up spontaneously?
Nobody writes my
material,
the things I say for me. You know, I've always been like this. God gave me the right to remain silent, but not the ability, and I just say what I think. And Lindsey Graham's coming on. Let me give you some advice. If you take Lindsey's advice, you'll end up drunk, so be careful.